All right, hello. My name is Brian Gillis, and I'm going to be your professor for GISC 1336, Digital Drafting and Design. What we're going to go over here is a quick course introduction. We're going to look at some of the objectives of this course, kind of the format for how this course is going to work, some of the software and resources that you'll have access to, grade weighting, so on and so forth. All right, so let's get into it. So what are the objectives of this course? By the end of this course, I'm going to want you to be able to create two-dimensional and three-dimensional objects in CAD environments. I'm going to want you to be able to design, create, and read different types of drafting templates. I'm going to need you to interpret types of survey data, both data once it's been loaded, and also the raw data that's collected in the field itself. Then, of course, the culmination of this course, I'm going to need you to be able to produce survey plats in CAD environments. And then hopefully we'll have time at the end of this course and we're going to be able to go over recreating survey boundaries within a GIS environment for some of you who may not be considering the land surveying route. So how are we going to format this course? How's it going to work? As you all know, this is an asynchronous online course. That means we don't have designated meeting times. You're going to have assignments, whether they're lectures for you to watch and read, labs, exams, and again, projects that you're going to be able to work on at your convenience, but still within the posted timeframes. And by the posted timeframes, I mean you'll still have due dates for things. It's just not going to be a course that we actually meet in person over. And when I mentioning here for lectures for watch and or read, uh, that's because along with every video that I make, I'm also going to give you copies of those slides on Canvas. Trying to reach out to me, again, my email is going to be the best way to get to me. I know on Canvas there's supposed to be a method for kind of messaging, pinging each other. But uh, just like all of you, I'm actually not at A&M Corpus. I'm an adjunct professor, so I work a separate job full time. So if you send me those emails, I'll be able to see them throughout the day. And if there are any kind of urgent messages that you need me to receive, I'll be able to get those instead of having to wait till I'm home later in the evening. And then we will be able to do video calls as needed. That'll only kind of be in the case of, hey, we're working on a lab or you're having trouble, unexpected trouble with the software or something, and you kind of need to show me what the problem is because, sometimes that's a lot better than trying to tell me. We can arrange those, but again, we'll set those up via email. So always just remember to try to shoot me an email. Again, like I mentioned before, your lectures, they're going to be provided as recordings, and then all of the slides from your lectures will be posted onto Canvas. For all of our labs, you're going to have recorded tutorials that kind of give about a workflows for how to get through the lab, how to do the lab itself, because I want you to be able to see in a video as well as the printed workflows that tell you exactly kind of what to do and what's needed to be turned in, things like that. And then our exams, whether we have one or two, they're both going to, up to two of them, are going to be administered via Canvas. All right, so what kind of software are you going to need for this course? Our three main softwares is the only things that I am going to expect you to have. It's going to be AutoCAD Civil 3D, which you all should have received an email from Autodesk to create your education account, which will give you then access to a delegated license for AutoCAD Civil 3D. If you didn't receive those emails, if you're having issue working through that, go ahead and send me an email and I'll make sure we get that sorted. If we get to the assignments at the end of the course, we're going to recreate boundaries in a GIS environment. That's going to be with ArcGIS Pro. And I'm going to assume all of you have taken, GISC 1470 Introduction to GIS already. So you should already have ArcGIS Pro and ArcGIS accounts. If you do not, go ahead and send me an email and then I'll get all those names put together, and then we'll reach out to Dr. Lucy, DHL Access. And then Microsoft Word, for any reports that we have to do, you're going to have to, type those up in Microsoft Word. And again, because you are all students at A&M Corpus, you have access to Microsoft 365. So if you don't have an existing Microsoft 365 account, you'll be able to make one. And each of these icons, you can click them, and they're going to go ahead and take you to the links for how to access that software. All right, different types of resources that I want y'all to go ahead and have access to. Definitely try to save or bookmark these links once you pull them from the slide. But there's going to be the AutoCAD learning resources. Some of your labs are actually going to come from this site as well. But it's on top of that, it's going to have tons of supplemental information about Civil 3D functions, the tools, how they use, what they're supposed to be used for, things like that, as well as a lot of really good tutorials that go well beyond the scope of this course. And you're going to have access for up to 1 year, assuming you're not graduating tomorrow, up to 1 year to all of that stuff through your education license. Then there's the Esri Academy. So if none of you have done GIS labs yet, you'll eventually get into the Esri Academy, and that's going to have all kinds of different supplemental learning resources for ArcGIS products, whether it's tutorials or it's workflows or just videos kind of talking about the products and showing you how to do certain things. All of that's going to be right there for you. And then again, Microsoft support if you have, if you need any assistance with anything in Word, whether it's how to save PDFs or change certain formats, things like that. Microsoft support will be able to give you most of those answers. And another important thing to mention here on these resources page is as we go throughout the course, when I use specific resources to build, your lectures, your labs, and everything, I'm going to make sure I save all of those off so that I can provide you with those links as well. Or if it's books that I'm using, I'm going to make sure that I scan those chapters or sections that I'm using so that you have access to all of that, the raw information that's used to put this course together. And one, I think it's good for each of you to see that, but two, as you grow professionally, you're going to have to constantly learn, especially being in a technology-centric profession like land surveying or GIS. The expectation of constantly finding new information and growing your professional skill set as technology changes is going to be vital to your careers. So hopefully seeing some of that here and how I'm utilizing that to help teach each of you, you'll adopt some of those habits as you go forward. All right, grade weighting. So exams, we will have a midterm and we may have a final exam depending on how midterms go. Those are going to be weighted as 10% of your overall grade. Your final project at the end of the semester is going to be worth 10% of your grade as well. We'll get into what each of these things are going to be further on. Written reports that you have based on some of the lab exercises that we do, again, 30% of your grade, and your lab assignments are going to be 50% of your total grade. And the reason lab assignments are going to be weighed, so much more heavily than even like exams and projects is because at the end of the day, this course, its intent is to teach you how to use CAD, teach you how to draft. So those assignments, that's going to be the primary focus of this course. It's not going to be a lot of textbook heavy learning. I'm not going to focus too much on things like you need to know this definition or that definition. In the world of drafting, there's a lot of ways to say the same thing, and there's a lot of ways to create the same drawings. So your labs and being able to just produce that final product, that is going to be the most important thing for you by the end of this course. All right, so these course topics, these are the ideal topics that we're going to get to cover, and all of these are in your syllabus as well. But ideally, what we're going to be starting with next week is just a basic AutoCAD Civil 3D tutorial. I mean, we're going to use the, straight from Autodesk getting started approach, and we're going to go through several, kind of shorter tutorials that are going to familiarize you with the software itself. So not necessarily how to draft, but hey, here's the software, these are the menus, these are the tools that we have access to, this is how you navigate it. Because I don't want us to get too far ahead in trying to create things if you don't even really know what the software is and what it can do. Then we're going to get into, some 2D objects, so, some simple drawing lines and shapes and stuff in AutoCAD, because at the end of the day, that's really all it is. We're just drawing lines and shapes based on our survey data, and we'll get familiar with those basic tools first through 2D objects. Then we're going to get into surfaces, especially being surveyors in the future, you're going to have to create lots of different surfaces. So we're going to learn how to do that, create tints and meshes and stuff in CAD. And then creating templates for yourself. You're each going to kind of shape templates in your own way as you grow in your career. Sometimes the companies you work for may have standardized templates, but again, it's something that we're going to need to be able to do. We can't just process our survey data and plot all of our different block items on it and then say, hey, here you go. No, it's got to be templated for legal reasons as well. And then understanding your data. So before we get into specific types of design topics, we're going to have to learn about data again. Again, those of you who've taken 1470 already, you saw that with GIS. There's a lot of data. 70% of your project is just formatting and processing data, and it's not a lot different with CAD. It's setting things up, it's preparing the environment, it's getting the data clean and ready to be loaded, and then plug it in and go from there. We're going to go over a lot of that here. And then different design topics. So primary ones that we're going to want to go over again are whether we're talking about topo surveys, boundary surveys, if we're trying to do site planning projects, or if we're actually just working on lot and block subdivision projects and designing those in CAD. Those are the primary topics that we're going to cover. Then if we are fortunate and we have enough time towards the end of the course, primary things that we're going to try to get into are going to be ALTA surveys, designing ALTA surveys, as-built designs, and then recreating boundaries in ArcGIS Pro. So I've already asked y'all to make sure you have access to ArcGIS Pro. So one of the things on that last one, recreating a boundary in ArcGIS Pro, whether we have an opportunity to do it as a lab or not, I'm going to make sure that I have that lab tutorial video posted before the end of the semester for you to bookmark, to make sure y'all have at least the ability to do it on your own time. All right, then again, exams, we will have a midterm exam that we're going to do via Canvas. It's not going to be a single day to take it. You're going to have a range of time, and that'll be determined at a later date. And again, that's because this is supposed to be an asynchronous course. I need to be courteous of whatever your work schedules or your family schedules are. So that's why we'll do that over just simply on Canvas and not be all at a specific time of day. So I'll always do mixed question formats, that's multiple choice, that's short answer, that's essay, because those all kind of help, identify kind of what kind of student you are, how you process things. Not everybody's good at multiple choice, not everybody's good at writing essays, so I kind of like to blend it. That allows me to work with each of you and kind of identify your strengths and weaknesses, and then work from there. Exam topics and scoring templates are always going to be provided to you 1 week before any exam date. That's because I want to make sure that what exactly it is going to be on the exam, and then how the exam is going to be formatted and then graded. And then for reports, we're going to have up to 4 reports. Each of those reports, when they are assigned, they're going to relate specifically to the lab that week. Kind of the labs that I'm expecting us to have reports on are already listed in the syllabus. So you can take a look there if you're one of those people that needs to calendar in everything ahead of time. But do know that when those reports are going to be is subject to change, but you'll have plenty of lead time to know that there's going to be a change. And then for your final project, hopefully, if everyone's doing well already throughout the semester, we're going to nix the idea of a final exam and we'll just focus on a final project. Um, and again, that's because this, at the end of the day, this is a CAD course. It's showing that you can use CAD. And instead of giving you an exam, I'd rather see you produce a completed survey plat along with a legal description based on field notes that I can provide to you. Why that's important, essentially, that's in the when you're all surveyors, RPLSs in the future, that's exactly what you're gonna do. You're gonna have your field notes. I know for those of you that already work in surveying, you're probably gonna have digital field notes saved directly onto the machine, not written out on paper. But either way, if you can take your field notes, take your field data, load it, and provide me an entire survey plat and with a written legal description over what was done, um, that's going to be amazing. That's where we want all of you. I'm going to make sure all of you get hundreds on those by making sure that you have the tools and the knowledge by the time we get to the end of this course to do so. So again, some of those drawing requirements for that final project are going to obviously we're only going to include topics that we were able to successfully cover throughout the semester. And what that means isn't necessarily that's going to be something on your project, but maybe how you are able to choose approaching your topic, your project. So that's it for our general course overview. Going back to the beginning, I talked about how this is an asynchronous course. We're not meeting in person, things like that. I just wanted to let each of you know, I understand that a lot of you are going to be working full-time jobs. You're trying to get your degrees to further your careers already, and I know it's a huge undertaking when working a full-time job. Some of you probably have families as well. Um, what I'm getting at is I understand things come up, life happens. Uh, Email me, as soon as is convenient. I want to work with each of you. I want to make sure that each of you are allotted the proper time and resources to be successful in this course. That's the most important thing to me, is that you were provided an opportunity to be successful in this course by the end of it. So go ahead and just save that email, reach out to me as soon as possible. Don't wait until deadlines are here. If something came up and you need an extension but you haven't asked for one, it's really important to me that you just ask before a due date. A lot of times that's the most important thing. Another thing, going back to software, um, I said before, some of you may already be working, as surveyors. So this course might just be, this whole degree could just be so that you can go and get your stamp. So you might have a software that you already use on the regular that you're very comfortable with, you're very familiar with. It's not Civil 3D, whether it's Carlson or MicroStation or whatever it is that you might use. Uh, I don't actually care which software you use. What is going to matter is that you're able to complete your lab exercises and provide them to me. So if you're able to read workflows for something like Civil 3D and then do the project on your own in another software, that's fine. I'm just going to need it exported as a DWG, which essentially any reputable software is going to be able to export to, even GIS exports to DWG these days. So know that that's okay. Just I won't be able to provide you with any kind of support for CAD software outside of AutoCAD Civil 3D. Um, and that's specifically because then it becomes a huge burden on me to try to work with each of you on different types of software and yada yada yada. I think you get the point. We standardize it for the course. This is what we're using. This is what the tutorials are going to be showing you how to do. If you choose to do it in something else, that's fine with me. Other than that, if you have any other questions about the course, its format, topics that we're going to cover, feel free to email me. It's brian.gillis@tmucc.edu. Hoping to have that Canvas access for all of you soon, so we can start putting things together there. But again, my email is always going to be available to y'all. So that is it for our digital drafting design course introduction. All right, have a good one.